So I woke up the other night and I was having a bit of a rampage, half asleep, half awake. And I was sort of tossing around with what you spoke about on the first few days, about getting ahead of things. I've wrote some notes here. Calibration, making little lists of what is going on and then turning that over and getting it into who I am, what I really love. And I realised that I love interaction. And a few times I get held back with fear of rejection and other things. And what I've really discovered about myself is when I've had a few drinks, I don't have that. I'm straight in there. And I'm realising that the more I learn what you've been teaching, I'm not needing the alcohol half as much. I enjoy the alcohol, and it's a lot easier to be open and less guarded. But I just think it's amazing how good I actually am, realising that I am. And that's allowing me to be exploring more and more things are actually coming together. My life's amazing, and it is getting better. And
before you go further, we want to stick something in here. I want to make this strong statement. When you have a strong enough desire, that word enough is key here. When your desire is sufficient enough, what you believe becomes not a big factor. So when your desire is strong, it will override belief. But most of you practice your beliefs so steadily. In other words, you are opinionated and you want to express your opinions, and whether you mean to or not, you're seeking agreement with your opinions. Let's just start with this premise. You are harmonizers. You are harmonizing beings. You are co-creators and therefore natural acclimators, adapters, and harmonizers. So we get it, why you harmonize with those around you. We just want you to always be aware of whether you're harmonizing with others at the loss or expense or sacrifice of harmonizing with who you really are. So what you're describing to us here is a desire that is not strong enough under normal conditions for you to override a belief system that you've been practicing along with so many others for a rather long time. But when you participate with some substance that simply diffuses your ability to focus, it sort of dulls your memory, it blurs your awareness of what's going on around, it makes you less attempting to care what anybody else is focused upon. So the alcohol in an environment of a desire that is not strong enough to override belief. In other words, you have not allowed it to get enough momentum that it overrides belief. Well, we don't want you to be those who are trying to override beliefs. We want you to be those who are practicing the enhancement of desires. And we don't want you to have to drink your way into covering up beliefs in order to temporarily, and that's an operative word, make them not a big factor. In other words, when you drink, and that's the reason that a vibration isn't active, then nothing has changed, except there is a propensity then to want to drink more often because you're wanting that experience to be your experience more. Of course, the remedy for all of this is to find ways of allowing your desire to naturally become more and more and more and more and more. And the way you do that is by looking for those moments, not when you're under the influence of something that you're drinking, but those moments when you are naturally in your own frequency of desires and everything around you is responding to that. In other words, look for those episodes, and there are many of those. Do you get what we're talking about?
I do. I totally get that, and that's one of the main things I wanted to express, is how much it's helped me to get ahead of it, to talk myself up and get into alignment before I take on any activity. and then it just flows, like you just said, as if I'd already had the alcohol, and I'm just open and easier.
And let's make sure that we understand together that the alcohol is not the issue. It's the vibrational state of being that always is. But the alcohol falls into the category that so many people live in, where you're attempting to fill the void with something other than alignment. And you can't fill the void with anything other than alignment, because the void is pinched off from who you really are. Yeah. Something more?
That's about it, I think.
Really good conversation.
Thank you.
Especially here.